and talk about it again.
Let's
Love
just mention
talking about
everything
it.
we just said again before we hit
Always.
record. Welcome to Red Stars Report, a podcast for fans of Chicago Stars FC and a community for everyone. I am your host, LT.
And I'm your co-host, Liz.
The Chicago Stars had their first sort of special event match of the year in the form of a doubleheader with the Chicago Fire at Soldier Field. The match ended in a 2-2 draw with Seattle Reign, but we'll talk about that in a moment because I wanted to first start off this week by talking about the news that happened at the beginning of this week, which was the signing of German international defender Catherine Hendrick to a 2-year contract, an option in 2027. She will join the Stars in August after the Euros. What are your thoughts on this signing? Because it kind of came out of nowhere.
Love it. Love everything about it. Player that can play every position on the back line. Somebody with tons of international experience, has played in World Cups, was on the Olympic roster, is now on the Euro roster for Germany. Not only is she not coming and joining, she's going to be participating in the tournament. So that's awesome. I just love that she's a versatile player, lots of experience. I like that sort of player because we seem to have a tendency to need players that can play different spots at different times depending on the back line. So it's great to have somebody that can kind of be good in all of those areas.
Yeah, I don't know how often she's played outside back as of recent. I know she did a lot in the early part of her career. She plays a lot of center back these days. She's 33 years old, so tons and tons of experience over in Europe and internationally. Like you mentioned, she's been on incredibly important rosters for Germany for the last several years. And I think the biggest question is just do they throw her in there sort of right away, and who does she replace?
I mean, if I had to venture a guess as to what I think should happen, I think that she should slot in next, since unfortunately, in my opinion, Hannah Anderson has fallen out of favor. I think that Carrie Riccaro should be replaced with Kathy. I think that that would be a great pairing with Sam Staab on the back line. And then Taylor Malum has been really good this year, as has Cam Bagalski. Taylor obviously got the start this in this last game and was, I think she's been a really solid player for us. And then Kuika as well. Obviously on the back line, we're not sitting Kuika, so or Sam Staab.
Yeah, we just got Natu back. Let's keep her there. Yeah, unless they sort of change anything formationally, I see no reason in moving Natalia anywhere, and I don't see benching Taylor, which is, I mean, it's wild how we now have Cam on the bench, who has been fantastic all year. She's up there in the league in tackles. She's a great 1v1 defender. She does struggle a little bit offensively, and that's sort of where you make up for that with replacing her with Natalia, who is also, one of the best defenders in the entire world. And whether people have those conversations or not, she is uh, unreal. So uh, you're not gonna bench Sam. That's ridiculous. So if they want Kathy to be the starting center back, it's going to be in replacement of Carrie Riccaro, I would imagine. And then that just leaves where Carrie would go from that point. My question is, so because she's on these Euro rosters, so she won't be in Chicago during this NWSL break. But during this break, Chicago will be playing in a tournament in Kansas City. So you'll see a lot of players who don't get many minutes, I would imagine, playing in those tournaments. And you would also imagine like a new signing might be able to, train with the team, get to know them, get some minutes in that tournament, but she won't be there either. So when she arrives in Chicago, it'll be right before a match on August 1st, I would imagine. That would be her first match, if anything. Maybe the next one, but it'll be interesting to see if they slot her into the starting lineup right away, or if she'll start on the bench until she sort of gets her feet under her. We've seen Europeans come into this league before and sort of struggle to find themselves in the pace of the NWSL. So I'm not sure how quickly she'll adapt to this league, but she's an incredibly skilled player. I think a lot of people are very excited for her to be on the team, and the defensive depth is been a talking point, or has been a talking point for Chicago since the beginning of the offseason. So adding another defender to the mix, especially one that has a plethora of matches under her belt for her entire career, I think is, you know, a check for the front office.
I think just in general, the depth of the team has been questioned by so many people, and that they're not signing anybody and they're not doing this or that. And I think that this proves that they are trying to go out and sign players. This is, as you said, it was kind of out of the blue, a player, but it's a fantastic signing. I am absolutely going to be watching the Euros and watching Germany play to see where she plays for Germany. I don't pay. There we go. We've
German
got the
flags
German
up.
flag up.
It's back.
And yeah, I want to see where she plays for Germany. I guess I haven't really paid much attention to her specifically. She's not one of the big names because she's a defender that I pay attention to when I watch other countries play. But I am very curious to see if she plays and where she plays on the field for them and how she does. So I will definitely be tuning into the Euros. Not that I wasn't going to be anyway, but now I have even more of a reason to. So who knows? Maybe before the Euros start, we'll have somebody else that we'll be watching. I have no idea. I'm not like pretending like I know anything. I'm just saying I'm hoping that maybe there's a few more signings, maybe an offensive player or something that we could go and get. But it would be ideal if it was somebody maybe I want somebody that's good enough to play for their country, but it'd be nice to have somebody that could come play in July that could get to know the team, because I don't know if she's going to slot in. Coming from playing in a grueling tournament, depending on how far Germany goes in the tournament, um, we'll see what happens. But if they go a long way, she's got, yeah, it's going to be a big adjustment coming into the moving to the US and all of the things that involves, and learning the system that Chicago's playing. I would maybe imagine if she were to play in the first game, it would be as a second half sub or something like that.
Yeah.
But I almost wonder if it wouldn't be like the second game, maybe even a second half sub to like get your feet wet a little bit.
Yeah, and we don't know what interim head coach Misaki Hemi's thoughts are on using new signed players, because he hasn't had any yet in his tenure. So we don't know his thoughts on how he's going to slot them in, or how many minutes he's going to give them until they're like fully adjusted for starters minutes. But I'm excited about Kathy. I think she'll be a great addition. I think veteran presence is nice to have in such a young team. It is unfortunate that, like you mentioned earlier, that a player like Hannah Anderson doesn't uh, she just falls even more on the depth chart now because of this. And I think when it comes to even more players that you're talking about during the Euros as a possibility, it's Chicago has a lot of people signed currently. They have players who are on like 45-day lists. They have Mal on maternity leave. And so there's, openings for those short-term contract players that they've had. But all of their short-term contracts end on June 30th, which is the day before that international transfer window. So we'll see if those contracts get extended, or if those players are off of this roster and are replaced by European players who are now out of season and available. And I think if this team wants to improve, they need to add talent. And the only way you add talent is by making room for them on the roster. And someone's going to go, I would imagine, with this Kathy signing, because I believe contracted players is up to 29 now. And we have a player out on loan as well, whose contract ends on June 30th, and Sarah Griffith. And then Nadia's contract, Kat's contract, and on June 30th as well. And then there was no details in contract length for Sparkowski, but um, I would believe that when Mackenzie comes off the 45 day, that's when Sparkowski will be gone, or if Alyssa comes back soon or something. I don't know.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, we have no idea how long Alyssa's going to be out with the thumb injury. But yeah, the other thing about Kathy that's exciting is she is taller. She's 5'9", so it's always nice to have a little bit of height on the back line. Because I feel like that's always an important thing. And I also like it, speaking of Alyssa being out injured right now, I think having a veteran play, because we don't know, I don't know how long. Thumb injuries can take a while. I don't know. I'm hoping that obviously that she'll be back after the break. That would be a really long time to be out. But if not, having a player in goal that has not played a lot of time, having a player like that's on the German national team back there, and a Sam Staab and Natalia Kuika, that's really
That's
solid.
quite the line. Yeah, that's two players that have extensive international experience, and a player who should have more international experience
And who
than she
knows, could
does.
have experience by the time the break
True.
is over. We have no idea. We're hoping, fingers crossed, that Sam Staab gets called into this US only camp that's coming up with Emma Hayes in the US women's national team.
Yeah, I would be so cool. I would love that.
Yeah.
Sam in this match, as we can discuss now, had an incredible assist to Ludmila, who scored not one, but two goals within, what was it, like 2 minutes and
Two
16
minutes.
seconds or something like that?
Two
Like
minutes.
wild. So very early on, Seattle in this match looked to sort of be on the front foot and was like, okay, like this is very Chicago, like teams getting a couple shots on them early on, or at least some chances, maybe nothing actually shot at the goal. But very quickly, Ludmila gets a ball from Sam Staab. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous ball over the top that she runs onto. It's very, very much in the wheelhouse of Ludmila to be able to run onto a ball that is sent over the top, and it's also very much a Sam Staab move to be able to send in those long balls. We probably haven't seen Sam connect one of those since Mal's been gone, and obviously Sam coming back from that Achilles injury. She's still sort of getting her feet under her as well. What did you think of that first goal? Because it sort of set the tone very early on for Chicago.
It was impressive. Ludmila is one of those players that makes magic happen, and you love to see it. And the ball in from Staub, fantastic, perfectly weighted, perfectly timed run. Everything was fantastic about it. The finish was awesome. Claudia Dickey is statistically the best keeper in the league right now, and that is impressive to get two goals on her in a game just in general, because they're not giving up that many goals per game. She's really good. And so I was just impressed with Ludmila's composure on for both goals to have the placement that she had on them. But yeah, to be she just to make the runs that she does, and she's so sneaky fast. Like I know that she's fast, but like when you watch her and she makes those really long runs, you just see how fast she is. I feel like she's one of those players that when she has the ball at her feet, she's faster than when she's just running down the field.
Yeah, absolutely. I got it backwards. It was Maitane's first, which just it's wonderful to see Maitane continue her success here in Chicago. I'm so happy that they signed her. We mention it every week, but for her to get her second assist of the season, and then Sam on that goal in the 13th minute to get her second assist of the season as well. I think her first one was that free kick goal. That was awesome as well.
Well, Phoebe McClernand's probably having nightmares after Ludmila in that game because she made her twist and turn so many different directions
Yeah.
trying to get back defensively on that first goal. She was trying to go one way and Ludmila's like, whoop, I'm gonna go this way. Whoop, I'm gonna go this way.
I was embarrassed for myself on the one where she was dancing around and Jenna was wide open on the right side because I'm just like, pass it to Jenna, pass it to Jenna, and then she scored, and I'm like, oh, never mind, never mind. you you do you, Ludmila. You're the pro soccer player. Don't listen to me.
Yeah, the first one is when she went far post against Dickey and got it, like just placed it perfectly in the
Yeah,
corner. And then the second one is kind of when she had to play around in the box a little bit, beat some defenders, and then took it back and then slotted it the other direction. It was so good. And it went like right in between like arm and leg of Dickey who was trying to like get down and she placed it so perfectly. I just so impressive. But yeah, it can't be enough can't be said about the balls in from Maitane and Sam Staab too because again, perfectly weighted, fantastic, also fantastic runs by Ludmila. That is why I would like to see Michaela Johnson on the field because I think that she can bring that same sort of energy that
yeah,
Ludmila does. And she burns it all out. And then it would be fantastic to see MJ in the last 20 to 30 minutes of a game give us that energy that when a backline's tired. But that doesn't seem to be in the cards right now for the
yeah.
subs that we're getting.
It was Ludmila's second brace of the season, her fourth goal this season as well. She had three last year. We were talking about this before we recorded. So now she has 7 goals in 18 matches with Chicago. So hasn't even played a full, what is there, 26 matches in a season. So hasn't even played a full 26 matches for Chicago and has 7 goals to her name. Um, I would love to see her be able to string like goal scoring in consecutive weeks instead of just going on these spurts of amazing offense. Because we do get those games where it's like it doesn't seem like a lot's kind of coming to her, or and she'll get frustrated, and it's like I'd love to just have her be able to get an early goal in, and then string more goals along into the following matches. And then also, like, we know that she's great 1v1, but I think in this match, she did have a couple of passes that were very unselfish of her. And it was nice to see her sort of also, or for us to also see that side of her, that she's not just a playmaker to score goals, but she can also set up her own teammates as well.
Also disappointing, learned from the Discord because I was not in attendance of the match, that Ludmila did backflips after she scored both of the goals and they did not show it on the
Yeah,
broadcast. Would have loved to see that. Super cool since the game was at Soldier Field that she got to do that twice.
not even in the replays. There's
Mm-mm.
nothing. And I was like, why? Like, what camera op was not pointed at her when she was celebrating? It's just, that's wild. Because I would have loved to see yet another flip from her. If that's going to be her goal celebration, if she scores a lot, it's very Sam Kerr-esque, as we're all
Yes.
familiar with from the Sam Kerr days in Chicago and all the backflips that she would do. Yeah, it's very reminiscent of that, and it was unfortunate to not be able to see it on camera.
Yeah, I'm hoping that I'll just I guess roll into this that Ludmila's okay for the game next week because in the second half I believe it was the second half, she was taken out for concussion protocol. So
Yeah.
she very bravely jumped up on a free kick to block it, and it hit her in the head. And it was a very brave play, but unfortunately, it took her out of the game.
She jumped so high to block that. And if anyone who's on those lines, it's like they either like turn their back
It's a
or
half-hearted
don't
attempt.
even jump or go on their tiptoes or something. But the way she got up there and blocked that, I was like, and then immediately went to ground. I was like, oh, that hit in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
And then she had to come out, was replaced by Ava Cook, who got, I believe, the most minutes that she's had this season because of it. And yeah, I hope she's okay. We saw B. Franklin come back from concussion protocol this week. She subbed in. She was one of the first. I think she was the third sub in that group of three subs. So more head injuries for Chicago, and hopefully this one's not one that keeps Ludmila out of the final match before the July break.
Yeah, let's hope not. Hopefully it was just precautionary and making sure everything's good. And maybe the plan was to take her out in the next 10 minutes anyway, so they just decided to do it because but yeah, it was nice to see Ava Cook. I think that she is a really good player that we need to play more because she just makes things happen. She's a fantastic outlet for our team when other teams are pressing us. She's really confident and confident on the ball and likes to break out of pressure and makes things happen. And so I was a good sub. I like that substitution a lot.
This is
Um,
the first time we've seen her actually play center forward, which
yes,
was uh, really nice to see because I think we've seen her as a wing back and as a left back.
yes,
And it's like, okay, I guess this is where they're playing Ava. So her playing center forward was nice to see uh, a good callback to her days of being the relatively uh, consistent starting center forward for Chicago a couple years ago.
love to see it. Love Ava. Hopefully Ludmila is okay because we need her, especially with Jamise still out and we're unaware of when she will return.
Yeah,
It's hard to say with this being the last game coming up next week, leading into a break. You're not going to want to risk it with any players that are currently hurt. Part of me
no.
feels like we're probably not going to see Jamise. You're not going to see Alyssa. You're not going to
And
see
they're also
those.
not going to play in those matches in Kansas
Yeah.
City either. Like they might as well just rest and recover for the rest of July. We don't need to see them. We can see other players in the Portland match and in the friendly tournament.
Yep, definitely. I kind of am excited to see some of the younger players that aren't getting a ton of minutes, to see what you have and where they kind of want to play them too.
Yeah,
That's some of the interesting stuff, but we'll obviously get into that when we hit this break that's coming up that's going to last quite a while.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. It's
yeah.
gonna be quite a extended period of time without the soccer.
But we'll get to talk about the German team now. We can
That's
talk about
true.
the Euros.
That's very beneficial. I'm glad we have someone to root for because everyone internationally that we have is either in Asia or somewhere on the Western Hemisphere. So
Yes.
we don't have many Europeans other than Natalia and and Nadia and now um, Kathy. So
And
I
Maitane,
believe.
technically.
Oh yeah, Maitane. Yeah. Mm.
We've got some, but
I don't think. Yeah, she doesn't. Does she usually play for Spain? I don't think
no.
so. Yeah, I didn't
Mm-mm.
think so. So yeah, the July break's going to be interesting. But speaking of young players, we got to see Hayashi have Mana have another great match. I thought she got 90 minutes last week. She got 55 or 56 minutes this week. I would not mind seeing more and more of her. I know that she's gotten these minutes in the absence of B, and I think B has been tremendous this year. And I obviously would love for her to continue to be tremendous and remain in the starting lineup. Um, but I want to see more minutes out of Mana. She's just she is so composed on the ball for a rookie, and makes things happen. And I want to see more and more of that. And the way that she was like able to flow between playing next to Maitane and then also sort of push up onto the front line and sort of have that fluidity with Julia, I thought was great. And Julia was back this match as well, which was really nice to see. She was out during the last match, and so we got players back. We're missing players. It's been
All the
interesting,
things.
but yeah, it was really nice to see Mana get extended minutes again.
Yeah, I think that she's a fantastic player. Great signing. You can just see the the Japanese international, like what the Japanese internationals how they play. You can see that in her game and her style of play. It's something that is more of a possession based play. In a sense that she is confident and comfortable on the ball, as you said. I feel like sometimes some of our rookies and younger players are just, they kind of panic a little bit when they get the ball. With her, there's none of that. There's no panic. There's just composure. Like, this is what we do. This is where the open passes should be, that sort of play. I'll be curious moving forward what's going to happen now that B's obviously healthy and back, and we've got this new German international. Like, there's so many things happening. I will be curious to see who earns the starting spots. It's not a bad problem to have. We talked about at the
Yeah.
beginning of the season, we were worried about depth, and now we have depth.
Yeah, the thing that I pointed out to a couple people in this match is that it was going really well with the 2-0 lead. And then the three players that came off the bench were three starters. So like if you had a 2-0 lead with players who are not consistent starters, to be able to take those players off, and B comes in, and Ali comes in, and who was the third? I'm forgetting.
Nadia,
uh, no, Nadia was the
no,
fourth sub. Cam.
yes,
Cam came in. And so like three players who have been consistently starters this season. It's not, I mean, it's not like super uh it's not a super like interesting thing because of the results this season. It's not like some teams where it's like, whoa, they have these players coming off the bench, and they're, national team stars. But it's nice to know that this team can perform well against a club and then be in the lead and then be able to put starters in. And I thought all three of them did really well. So it's not like those substitutions specifically were the reason for Seattle's comeback. That was more so like 10, 15 minutes after they had subbed in that all that started to go down.
yeah, and that wasn't even what the sub issue. That
Yeah.
was the decision making and the tactic change of flipping to a five back, which I hate more than anything. I think five backs are confusing defensively because when you switch from playing kind of like a four, like playing a four back, I mean, they're pretty much in like a 4-4-2, and ish. And so when you flip to a five back, the space that you were covering in a four back is now smaller. And you have to remember who's playing where and who takes this space, what zones kind of are you in, and it makes things way more confusing. I have no idea why, if something's working and you're ahead two, I mean, I get why. I know why in your brain as a coach you're thinking, but if I put another player back there, it makes it even harder to score. But what you need to be thinking of is, but if we score another goal, then that makes it even harder. But if I just think that we need to stop being in this defensive mindset when we have a lead or a game's tied. We need to go for the kill shot. We need to go for the goal. Like, if we go up three, no chance. No chance.
Yeah.
But like that would have demoralized Seattle even more than they were feeling down two. They always say that the most unsafe lead is a 2-0 a two like a up by two, and it's true because that happens all the time. Because then a team gets one, and then they're like, "We're right back in this," and it then the momentum changes, and that happened in this game. And it's not Hannah Anderson's fault. And I said this in the Discord. There's some people that are going to look at that and be like, "That's why Hannah Anderson shouldn't play because she subbed into the game, and look at what happened." No, it's because of the tactics. If they would have just taken somebody out and brought Hannah in to slot into that, if that's what you wanted to do, you wanted to just sub in a new defender, do that. Don't take somebody else out and shift to a five back. Should have stayed a four back, push somebody up high. I don't care. Play Hannah Anderson up high. I don't care. But
Sam.
don't, yeah, Sam Staab. Like,
Forward.
honestly,
Center forward, Sam Staub.
it's fine. Like, it's just one of those things where I just feel like that decision it's like, okay, we're not going to try for a goal. We're no longer we are no longer an offensive team. Not that we really are in the first place, but we are no longer an offensive team. We are going to sit back and we're going to absorb pressure. And eventually, when you have players like they do, like Lynn Biondolo, she's going to make something happen, and she
Especially
did.
against Chicago.
Yes,
She always does.
yes,
Um, yeah, there's a couple of things. The first one was like you said, the 2-0 lead, most dangerous lead in the sport of soccer, almost became potentially a 2-1 lead when a penalty kick was called on Natalia Kuika for like the most softest penalty I've ever seen in my life. Uh, Finally, we get a VAR call go Chicago's way,
that's our one for the
and
year.
they turn
Enjoy it.
and they turn it back over. Nope, no PK. Because of course, like there was no PK. Natalia went shoulder to shoulder with her, and then she just flopped. So yeah, I don't know why Sean Tahini would call that. It's ridiculous. Thankfully, VAR convinced her to overturn it because that was just a stupid foul call. So VAR finally went their way. The other thing I was going to say, which ties right into everything you were saying, especially about like remaining offensive focused, is you had the first half of the match and Chicago was playing relatively offensive focused, which obviously is the case with the two goals. But they were like connecting passes. They were trying to make things happen in the box. It was unlike the Chicago we've seen in recent weeks. And on the defensive side, while you're just playing your game and trying to push the ball forward, Seattle gets two shots off and one was on target. And that's it. And then the second half, for the first part of the second half, it was like Seattle got back into it a little more. But then they go ahead and make their substitutions and switch into this five back. And it was even like a weird five back where like sometimes like Allie was on the back line and Taylor was playing up high, and it was so confusing, and clearly it was confusing to the players. And Seattle gets off 15 shots in the second half, five of them on target, and give up two goals. If you just play the game, if you just play the way you've been playing, you're not going to let up 15 shots toward your goal, and you're not going to let up five on target. Like, what a ridiculous tactical decision to sit back into a low block, especially in this league, where even the most like not superstar players score goals a lot. And it's like, I just thought it was ridiculous decision. Like, yes, the players should not give up the goals, whatever. They should play better defense. I don't like that's not what I care about. That's important, but what's most important is setting them up for success. And when you're changing things in the last 20 minutes of the match, 20, 25 minutes of the match, and just having shot after shot after shot after shot after shot near the end of the match, the second that that goal went in the 87th minute, and Seattle just got the ball back and was pressuring again, I was like, there's clear as day, like the most easiest feeling in the world was they're gonna tie this. The Chicago looked disorganized, um, and it was not a good showing in those last dying minutes of the match. And then, of course, Seattle ties it up in the 90th, and that was a great shot by Jordan Bug. But right after the tie, Chicago goes back to getting the ball up the field and playing keep away from Seattle, and then Seattle didn't get more shots off. Like what? Like I don't know. Just play the game. Just play the game.
I think the thing that's so frustrating to me is you are wanting to absorb pressure with a keeper that is very inexperienced.
Who had some great
Yes,
saves?
but when you are doing a five back, you are essentially saying we're saying bring it on.
Yeah, kick the ball towards us.
And that is not what you want to do for Hallie. That is not what you want. You want to have the ball at the other end. You want to be possessing. You want to be doing all of those things. And I just think that know your personnel. KYP, come on now. That is sports 101. You know that you have a keeper that is very, very inexperienced playing in such a crucial game. There's so much pressure happening. Like, I don't know why you would do that. As you said, the players look confused. As I said, five backs are always confusing when you switch into it. The only time I have ever seen really that I can think of in a game that I've watched, I know teams do five backs a lot, is in 2019 when the U.S. Women's National Team did a five back against France. And they have Alyssa Nair and they have Becky Sauerbrunn and they have all of these like
World
fantastic
class
players.
players. Yeah.
Yes, world class players on the back line, plus a world class keeper, world class midfield, all of the things. Like you have Sam Mewis, all of the things are happening. Julie Ertz, all of these things are happening. And they did it, but they still absorbed a ton of pressure from
Yeah.
France. And I just, when that was happening in the game this weekend, I was like, this never works out because it's like you're just saying, okay, we're just going to let you have the ball, try and beat us, but you haven't been able to do it. So we're going to give you confidence, is what we're saying. We're going to
Oh
let you
yeah.
be on the ball and get confidence, which is really bad. Like that's very bad tactically to do because in the beginning of the game, Seattle looked completely out of sorts. They were not their normal self. But when you give Lynn Biondolo time on the ball, she is going to make something happen and you will pay. That's what happens, especially against Chicago.
Yeah, we've seen it countless times against Chicago in this league as a whole, and with the women's national team as well. If she has the ball at her feet and she's in the box, good luck, good luck,
Yep.
and that's what they gave her, time and space, and she took advantage of it. And I, yeah, I think this it comes into question like how much have they even practiced this five back look, putting almost everyone on the back line purposefully rather than their usual like bail to people on the back line that we've seen before, which also hasn't really worked out in the past. So yeah, I don't know what that tactical decision was by uh, Misaki Hemi, but
A
it
bad one.
was a bad one. And I thought until then, I think he had coached a great match where he wanted players to be positioned, who he was utilizing, especially in substitution. Um, like every single sub was used except Michaela Johnson, but I think they were used at like opportune times. Like we usually see him sub in like the 75th, 80th minute and onward, but this was in the 56th minute that we saw our first substitutions. So much earlier than we usually see. And I thought it worked out for the most part until the last big tactical change. And yeah, from there, it's like it's disappointing because last week against Angel City was a draw that probably, could have definitely been a win.
Well,
We don't need to discuss that all over again.
well, Jordan Angeli had no problem bringing it up numerous times during
Of
the game
course.
about how it was a horrible call.
Yeah. And then we come into this match possibly getting 3 points and you come out with one again. It's Chicago's first like double result, consecutive result this season. They're not in last place anymore by 1 point, which is nice. But the what could have been 6 points has turned into two these last 2 weeks. So it's just sort of demoralizing,
The thing is
really.
if you look at those 6 points, they would be right outside playoff
Yeah,
spots with those points too. They're right there. That's the thing. If they can figure it out in the second half of the season, they truly, and I'm not even saying it as like a total Homer fan here or anything. Like if they figure it out and they sign some people and they get some chemistry rolling, they truly could make the playoffs because it is that right at the playoff line, it is a conglomeration of a bunch of people that have we're just a few games off. And so I'm confident in how we're doing. As I said it last week, I'm gonna say it again. If somebody were to just show you the score line of this game and you knew nothing else about it, you'd probably be satisfied. But knowing how the game played out, you're disappointed.
yeah. And
Kind
I was
yeah.
also really I was disappointed that Hallie couldn't get her first shutout as an NWSL player because I thought she did so well.
She's a
And
very
she
good keeper.
so like that save, that tip save that hit the
Mhm.
the crossbar, um, the confidence that is just like exuding from her as a player who has barely stepped onto an NWSL pitch, and into the shoes of a legendary keeper like Alyssa Nair. It doesn't hurt that, and Alyssa has obviously told her this as she's mentioned that trust the players in front of you. Like you have Sam Staab in front of you, you have Natalia Kuika, you have great players that are playing in front of you and have played in this league for so long that 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 kind of talent ahead of you must uh, bring on confidence in a young keeper. I mean, if I was a new keeper into the league and I had Sam Staab as my center back, I would be like, okay, I think I'll be okay. And then of course she steps onto the scene right as Natalia Kuika comes back as well, who is unreal when it comes to defending. And it's so wonderful to have her back. I really do think that she's been like the missing piece to this connection
Once
across
she
the
gets 90
lines.
minutes fit, we're golden.
Absolutely. Now we just need, the offense more than just Ludmila to step things into gear. And I think you have three solid lines that could make a run for the playoffs. I mean, we had our predictions in the beginning of the season, and like that was obviously at a time where I believed things were going to change from last season. I thought they were really going to come into this season and have a different look and play a little bit different of a style. We obviously didn't know that Mal was going to be gone for the entire season yet, and we didn't know that Natalia was going to be injured right at the beginning, but we also didn't know that Sam Staab would come back so quickly. So like my early prediction of like I think it was like eighth place, seventh, eighth place, like feels stupid like in the beginning of the season, but I really truly thought things would look more towards like what they're sort of looking like now than they were in the beginning of the season. And when players get healthy, and the younger players get more confidence, it just things can change after a big break like this, and hopefully the players who haven't seen a lot of minutes that do have a lot of talent on this team get minutes during that July tournament and can really gain some confidence to sort of fight for minutes and maybe even starting spots come the second half of the season.
And we can make some moves and see what happens, build some chemistry, all of that good stuff. I would like to know, I would love to have had Alyssa and Mal, but they were both at the game, mic'd up to hear what they were saying. Like when Ludmila scored, when Hallie made those saves, like all of that stuff. It would be really fun to hear like what Alyssa's commentary would be on a save like that. It'd be really fun to hear.
I can imagine, just nice.
Yeah,
Just
so
cool,
good.
calm, and collected. That was great.
Golf clap. But yeah, it's good to see them there. It's good to see Mal was at the game. And then obviously Alyssa's there. What a great game though. Obviously they didn't get the win, but
Yeah,
in front of at the doubleheader, just be scoring goals. That's something we've struggled with.
so important. Like it sucks that the last several minutes had to happen like that, but for a performance in front of fans who probably haven't watched much, if any, of this team, and maybe have only seen the headlines and the score lines. It was good to see a first half of a match that was actually entertaining. And hopefully people who came out, just like I said during the Wrigley match, even though that was a little bit of a downer performance wise, um, hopefully people who this was their first Stars match or maybe the first one they've been to in person, they usually just watch on TV. Hopefully they move towards going more regularly or watching more regularly on television, and we get more support from this fan base. And it was really important for them to play within the city limits again. Hopefully in the future they'll have a stadium down there, but we will still wait and see if that becomes a reality.
Yeah, time will tell. But yeah, I think it's good to play a double. These double headers are really smart. I like the idea of it. It's just unfortunate that it sounds like there was a lot of time between games, so a lot of fans just came for one game or the other game, and a lot of people didn't want to stay after the Stars game because I think somebody said it was like an hour and a half or something
Yeah.
between the games, which is kind of a long time, but I get it with all the moving and shaking that has to go on with teams in and out of
Yeah.
places and
I
getting the
just
field.
I think there could have been more like two there could have been more done between the matches, like entertainment wise, to get
Mhm.
people to stay for the fire match. But it seemed like there was only just like a couple of things that were certainly not going to take an hour and a half of your time. And so I know a lot of, and I know there's people who aren't a fan of one team or aren't a fan of the other team that, obviously everyone had tickets to both, but didn't go to one or didn't go to the other, and that's fine. But yeah, the hour and a half between uh, made it a little rough for Stars fans who were at least considering maybe staying for the fire, to just head out because they did not want to wait an hour and a half in Soldier Field for another match.
Yeah, it's tough, but I do like the idea, and I think it's smart because obviously you've got soccer fans and there's people that just like to go to games and stuff. So I liked it. It looked. I was a little worried about the pitch there when not to kind of on on a run up the field kind of got tripped up by the turf monster there a little bit, but I did appreciate Lou Barnes when she got the ball, like checking on that. That's like really excellent sportsmanship. So I
Yeah.
appreciated seeing that, and everything obviously was fine. But with Natalia coming back from a knee injury, I was very scared there for a second. That's the one thing about Soldier Field that worries me a little bit. But I know that they've replaced the grass and things there. But it looked like a great field for the most part. The players, the ball didn't really seem to have any hiccups or anything. It was just that one moment, and sometimes that just happens. But yeah, I liked the game. I thought it was fun. The weather looked wonderful, so that was always a good thing too.
Important. Certainly important. I think that's what deterred some people from the Wrigley match was the rain.
The downpours,
Yeah, the that was that was unfortunate. So that record could have been even higher, I think. But I know that there were even some people when I was wandering around Wrigley that were just like walking on the streets and where people were like, "What is this?" It's like, "Oh, it's a soccer match," and like at a baseball stadium, cool. And then they would go to the ticket booth and get tickets. So it's like that's cool that
that's the
there
thing. Like,
were
why not?
people that were just wandering Wrigleyville and were like, "Hey, I'll check out this soccer match." So that was kind of neat. But yeah, so that's that two points in 2 weeks, which is good for this team,
Better than zero.
better than zero. Next week they move to a horrible turf in Portland. That's a 9 p.m. match. So
Rough.
that's gonna yeah, it's gonna be a little rough on Saturday. Portland just beat Washington while we're recording this, so that was a really important match for them because they've had these like really close matches. I think a couple weeks ago, I think they won 4-2, but usually they're either drawing or winning by one or losing by one. So Portland's like a team that's kind of a big question mark when it comes to how well they're going to perform this year.
They remind me of Seattle.
Yeah, they're obviously missing Sophia Smith this year. They keep swapping keepers between Bigsby and Arnold. Bigsby got the match this time, got a clean sheet. I know Arnold's been playing pretty well this season as well. She is their team captain, and we've seen her out there a lot. I'm a big fan of Mackenzie Arnold. I have her West Ham captain's band right there behind me. Uh, uh, yeah. So yeah, what are your thoughts on Portland overall? Some of their players maybe to sort of look out for.
I think that Reina Reyes has been playing really well for them. Obviously, the keeper situation is always interesting because we don't know who's going to be playing in goal. They've struggled to find people to replace players like Sophia Wilson and Morgan Weaver, who are both out. Morgan Weaver had tore her ACL again, unfortunately, and
Yeah.
Soph is out on maternity leave. So
Of
that's
course, I
rough.
misnamed her.
No, it's all good. I was going
I
to, and
haven't
then
said that
I
name since she was on the national team, and it did not stick with me.
it's all good. I think
Absolutely,
that
Sophia Wilson. My bad.
like and they've obviously lost Becky Sauerbrunn. So it's just one of those things that they're trying to figure out their identity and their leadership. And Sam Coffey is kind of taking on that leadership role. She's kind of the engine of that team. She is the leader of the defense, I feel like at times, and the leader of the offense at times.
Yeah,
So I think that our midfield will have their hands full with her trying to navigate where she's going to be. Obviously, Olivia Moultrie is another player that can make things happen. I believe, what made one of the goals that they scored today. She was involved in. Jessie Fleming was also involved in that goal as well. Another fantastic player.
who
That
has actually like they finally
Yes,
found a way to utilize her because she was struggling early on and
Rob Gale
had a
finally
really
figured
bad.
out how to use Jessie Fleming, which
Yeah,
is
dangerous.
yes.
It's dangerous.
It feels like sometimes the Canadians are hard to put into their place sometimes
Yeah,
in the NWSL. Like Chicago struggled with Julia Grosso and like how to utilize her. And I feel like Jessie Fleming's kind of been on that same path. Fantastic player, but they just couldn't figure out how to utilize her. Now she's figuring it out. I they have Torden, who also scored a goal in the game against Washington,
substitution. Yeah,
chipped over. Nice play. Rookie, really solid player that I really liked in the youth national teams for the US. And hopefully we don't have to see her in that game because she's very good. She's a really great sub off the bench. So I think Sam Coffey though is where I look to where we really need to to hone in on. But that being said, where we can exploit, I feel like is defensively. I
Mhm.
think that we can beat them defensively. We just have to be smart. And I think that players like Ludmila, if we can have balls over the top from Maitane and Sam Staab, she could have a field day. And so if she can beat a keeper of the caliber of Claudia Dickey, I think that she can beat keepers like Arnold and or Bixby, whomever is out there. So I think that it'll be interesting to see who plays. As I said, I don't think Jamise is probably. I don't think that they would risk bringing her in for that game.
I wouldn't.
I would hope that maybe we see Michaela Johnson in this game because I think that players like that can really bring. They're so good off the bench because they bring that energy we don't that players are lacking that far into the game. And so I think that MJ would be a great sub off the bench. I'd really love to see that happen. But yeah, I think that if we continue to play how we played in the first half against Seattle, I think that we can exploit Portland.
Yeah, I think you're right about Reina Reyes. I think she's been playing really well this season at left back, and the rest of their defensive line has sort of been hit or miss. I think Obeys plays center back for them. So does Sam
Mhm.
Hyatt. Sam Hyatt was a player that I wanted to get recruited to Chicago. I like Sam Hyatt a lot. Um, she's still sort of trying to find her way in Portland, I think. She's been good at times and not great other times. And then I think in this last match they started Torpy at right back, and she can be exploited
She
for
also
sure.
got up the pitch offensively for them in this game, which is a worry.
Yeah, yeah. I think someone like Natu or Taylor can handle her depending on which side of the field they're on, and I think it would mostly be Taylor that would be going up against her. So yeah, it'll be an interesting match. Hina Sugita has also been great for Portland as well. So they have talent. They seem to also just sort of be trying to sort of mold it all together. And because this league is so crazy, they're in fifth place right now. But I would not, just like we said about Seattle, I did not look at Seattle last week who were in fifth place and be like, that's a fifth place team. I don't look at Portland and say that they're a fifth place team either. So everyone's so bunched up. It's their ranking is not totally aligned with their performances. So I think it's winnable, maybe another draw. It depends on who gets hot at the wrong time when when it comes to
Right.
playing Chicago, because sometimes that happens. But yeah, I think the defense can be um, uh, they can be overcome, and we'll just see if who's in goal, Bigsby or Arnold, and whether or not Chicago can get some goals past them.
Midfield battle. It will be a
Yeah, it'll
midfield
absolutely
battle.
be a midfield battle. Maitane and whoever they slot next to her, B or Mana, will be battling it out with Sam Coffee when she pushes high. Same with Hina when she pushes high as well, and hopefully Chicago's central attacking players can sort of get past Sam. I know the last time I remember them playing Portland, they did a really good job of sort of having this like diamond trap sort of around Sam. And I think it worked really well to sort of make her push the ball backward more than she did forward. So if they can sort of do that again, I know they utilized Ali Schlegel a lot as sort of Sam Coffey's mark. So we'll see. We'll see.
I would like to see Shea Groom and Jenna Bike and or Jenna Bike in the starting lineup because they like to draw fouls. They like to get under people's skin. Sam Coffey is notorious for getting yellow cards. She got one in the game against Washington. And if you could get her on an early yellow, then she can't be as physical, which she likes to be in the middle of the pitch. So that would not be a bad thing. I could see Shay going in there and causing some chaos.
As she usually does. Yeah, refs hate to see her come in, as I said during this match, because she gave them an earful during the Soldier Field match. She was just going off on them. It was quite entertaining, and then drew her own fouls. And
Yes.
then it's wonderful to have Jenna Bike back, who is also tremendous at drawing fouls
And Ava
and getting other
Cook. She
people's.
knows how to
And Ava
fall.
Cook, she knows how to fall. I keep telling people this. A player that knows how to fall. I love them. Her, Jenna, and Shay. They all know how to fall, and we need more of those. We need and them for them to teach the others how to fall because that's very. It's soccer. Like you need to know how to fall. You
Jamise would have got a PK if she just fell way back
They
when.
even said it as much in that review, which is crazy. But yeah, so Portland next week, then the big old break for July. So we will have the not a whole lot to talk about unless there's some player signings and we'll keep our eyes on Kathy Hendrick as well and let you know how she's performing in the Euros. I think that'll be very exciting to watch. It's always nice to have players internationally, so you have even more to root for during these breaks. And you know, keep showing up to Stars matches, keep supporting this team. Things will get better, I hope. We've seen them improve slightly in certain areas, a lot in other areas, and there's just you just got to give them time. Don't don't fall off quite yet, especially when we have more and more seasons to come. It's not like this is going anywhere, so things can get better.
They're gonna get the win. I'm telling you. I told you this before we recorded. I did not get to, I was somewhere else while the game was going on the first half, so I missed Ludmila's goals. And then I watched the second half, and obviously they came back. I have to miss the game next weekend against Portland entirely. I will be
Yeah, so here we
unavailable for
go.
the game. So
Five
let's
nothing
get the
win.
dub. Providence Park, they're gonna get the dub.
That would be great. So yeah, make sure that you are subscribed to us so you can see all of our podcast episodes that go up across all our platforms and YouTube. And we'll be back next week and we'll recap that match against Portland. So we'll see you next week for another Red Stars Report.